what's been going on in your comic book world?
So, yesterday, Curtis and Alicia came to visit, and I took them to my comic book store. And, of course, I couldn't resist, right? So I went to my box, and I got all my comic books, all the Civil War titles that I asked for. And I got something that you're really going to like.
Ooh. The Big Plush Spider-Gwen. Yeah, my local GameStop has it. Every time I see it, I'm like, because I have the unmasked pop and the masked pop.
Oh, that's cool. You have both?
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds.
All right, let me show you.
Because my headset's wireless, so it works out perfectly.
Oh, look at that. You're all up to date and stuff?
Oh yeah, you're gonna be so jealous of what I'm about to show you too.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so I have
look at that.
Spider-Gwen.
That's a Walmart exclusive.
Oh, Walgreens, but yeah, I have the masked Spider-Gwen. And this one.
Bum, 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 bum. I have that one. I love that one. Yes, I love it. You want to see what else I got yesterday? Here, let me show you what else I got yesterday. Brienne of Tarth.
Brienne of Tarth.
Yes. So I have Captain Phasma and I have Brienne. And lastly, what came today to my front door? Godzilla.
Oh, I saw you talk about Godzilla. I didn't know what it was. I saw it in a post. I wasn't sure what it was. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's Godzilla, and it's glow in the dark. Atomic Breath Godzilla.
For, was it 2 months ago? A month ago?
Oh. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, pops are pops, right? But comics, yes. I ended up getting all the first round of hip-hop covers. Right, because you know I have some of those framed.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through here,
and I'm like,
this is just the first round. So there's a second round of them. So I'm all like, got it, want it, got it, want it, got it, got it, want it.
So a little bit of Little Monsters going on is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But this, I mean.
Age reference, age check. For everybody watching, this is age check. Little Monsters.
I mean, look at this stuff. It's so
so good.
Right? This one's cool. This is the next one I want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is that
awesome?
awesome?
I need to get the Megan Hetrick. I have that. That's Dazzler.
No, that's not.
Blonde hair. It's Dazzler.
It's Captain America.
It's Captain Marvel. Sorry. Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
You know who your favorite character is.
I know. I was just saying it wrong. And they have two Captain America shields there. That's what I was thinking of. Really cool.
Oh.
Like one's aluminum alloy and one's a resin, so it's lighter. But oh my God, we geeked out past their closing time. Absolutely. So these are the actual comics I got yesterday. Uncanny Avengers.
I stopped reading it.
And the Power Man Iron Fist Civil War.
Oh, see, that one would be good to read because Captain Marvel's in it, but I stopped reading Power Man Iron Fist because the first couple issues was just focused on Black Mariah, and I wasn't really too thrilled about the storyline nor the artwork, and I was like, sucks.
Yeah, I kind of like the artwork, but it's just a little hard to read. It's a little jumbled, the storyline. Anyway, this is the Deadpool that somebody posted, the very special Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica Jones.
Well, there's a bunch of number ones this week that I didn't pick up. But I debated. I was like, no.
Death of X?
My comics are right over here from this week. Oh, yes, I have that exact copy. That is fantastic. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm grabbing it right now. I'm excited for that storyline. There's actually a couple different variants for that specific
for the cover?
Number one. I've seen a couple online. God, I want to say Pablo Castillo. One of the nerds. He posted it. He had like 2 or 3 different versions.
Oh yeah.
But my week was.
Oh, this is the one we were talking about the
Moon
other
Knight
day.
7.
Ooh. There's a good variant cover in Moon Knight too.
Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Daredevil 12, which was actually cool because he whoops Karnak's ass, which is difficult because Karnak, his ability is to see the weakness and everything, which is kind of cool ass ability. Then you got the new Old Man Logan.
Yes, I have that one. I subscribed to that. I actually get it through a New York City comic book store. I actually have it mailed to me. They finally stopped folding them in my mailbox.
The final Darth Vader.
See, you guys are all into the Star Wars stuff. I'm not into the Star Wars comics. I like the Marvel universe.
The Darth Vader one was fantastic, though. Like, the storyline was the art. Oh man, the artwork is superb, and it's only 25 issues. It just ended. It's a cool, different storyline to see a little bit more of what Vader did during Star Wars. You get to see, when everybody's focused on Luke and things like that in the movies, it's focused on what he's doing in the behind the scenes. Flash, which has been good. I have liked the few Rebirth I've been reading from DC. You get it twice a month because they're pretty much $3. So you get it twice a month. The Flash storyline's been awesome. And this is new. And I was kind of upset when I first saw it going down in the comics. But if they don't screw it up like they did in the 90s, because the 90s, it almost killed off Spider-Man as a comic because of it. But
the clone conspiracy. I saw that. But like I already got. You saw the Diamond Box from last week that had like 60 titles in it. Yeah, because I asked my comic for the people who weren't on the failed video that we did. I asked my comic book store. They set aside comics for me and they put them in my box. Phrasing. And I asked for all the Civil War titles. Oops, because there was like 60 of them. And I have them back here.
They gave her every single
one. I mean, I could pull up the stack. The stack is literally this high. But what made me do
the ones that are just titled Civil War, like Civil War, I think like 5 or 6 is out now. You meant that, not the every single Civil War side story.
And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, these are cool. So a couple more things. So we talked a little bit last time about X-Men 92. God, I love the series. Love the series.
The artwork was great.
Yeah. I'm just, like, here they are in a comic book store. I mean, how awesome is that? Oh, no, they're in a record store. But how awesome is that?
Empire Records.
Records! Really, really, really digging the Captain Marvel, even the Civil War part. So here's my question to you. So are they making her out to be kind of a villain?
Not really. Like, I've read a bunch of the side stuff because I read Miss Marvel, and Miss Marvel took her name and colors from Captain Marvel, and Carol has been like her huge inspiration, and they kind of had a falling out in the most recent Miss Marvel. But it's not. She doesn't think she's a villain. She just thinks she's not making the right decision now.
She's like on the wrong side of history.
Civil War.
Yeah, she's on the wrong side of history. Let me grab that one that I showed you last time, where she was. It's kind of a spoiler, though. Should I show it? The Spider-Man thing?
I mean, if you haven't read it, it's like 2 weeks old. It's either a week to 2 weeks old. It was either last week or the week before last. So if you haven't read it, it's your own fault at this point.
Yeah, I have to find it. But yeah, here's the choosing side ones. That was cool.
I bought the very first one, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then by the third storyline, I was like, okay, if they follow these 3, I'll be okay with it. And then I went to get number 2, and it was like a whole different set of people. I was like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think in some cases, like you said, I just think she's on the wrong side of history. I'm going to have a hard time finding it. I think maybe it's in the Captain Marvel one. Which is the Iron Man Power Fist one. But, they're all going at it.
No, it's in the Civil War one. It's in the Civil War.
Oh, see, here's half the stack that I got. It's crazy, right? Oh, so I asked the woman there about Gods of War, and she said she hadn't read it, but she said people love this series. Love this
I'll tell you,
series.
like I've been since Hercules. They started Hercules back up again, and how they've done the storyline is he's trying to redeem himself from being a alcoholic and failed superhero because he was the world's first superhero. That's what they keep going about, and be like, yeah, him and Tony, because he was one of the first Avengers, not original, but was one of the first Avengers. Tony Stark still comes and talks to him about being an alcoholic and how he's staying away from alcohol, he's recovering, because all he did was want to party and drink and boast after he didn't care about collateral damage. He just did whatever needed to get the job done, and so because of that, the Avengers stopped calling on him because he became a joke because they couldn't rely on him.
That seems like a really good storyline to me, frankly. And what were you saying?
Good.
So all the gods are in there, right?
You got Gilgamesh, who's been in the original. Like Hercules had his own title till Civil War happened. Now it's Gods of War. Until Civil War's done, now I think go back to Hercules again. But Gilgamesh was crashing on his couch in his apartment, just hanging out and being a fat oaf.
Gilgamesh is like the Joe of Gods of War.
Oh God, you're not kidding. And then Beowulf, Theseus, a random Asgardian that I've never heard of before. Eir, she is an old dark magic goddess, and then I can never remember the frickin' oracle's name, but she, whatever it is going through a David Bowie phase, which she talks about in the very beginning of Hercules.
I think that's so cool.
It's hilarious.
I think that's so cool. Well, I can't find it right now. It's buried somewhere in all of these. But here's the Old Man Logan that I just got. So I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really dying to.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
It's a cool storyline right now.
Yeah, it's The Last Ronin. It's a series of 3. Really, really cool.
Is it 3 series?
No, it's just part 3. And then I picked up the Kingpin one because I haven't read it. I haven't started reading.
I got part 4 right here.
I haven't started reading the Kingpin series, but because it was in Civil War and it was in this stack of Civil War titles, I thought I would pick it up. I'm kind of interested in it. But anyway, here. Also wanted to show you 2 things. So, Josh Morris, you'll be happy. I keep
still love that thing.
in bound boxes. So you can see all the titles are in there. So I can keep one series in a box. Same thing with the all-new Wolverine. So these right now are my 2 favorite series. And I just love them.
Mine's a toss-up between, because I really, really love the cohesion, how they constantly cross over to each other's comics. I said to say Miles Morales because it just says the title was just Spider-Man, but it's the Miles Morales Spider-Man, the new Nova, and Ms. Marvel. I love the take on all 3 of these characters. I love that they're constantly crossing over into each other's comics. And most recently when Ms. Marvel quit the Avengers, Nova and Spidey had already quit the Avengers, and she called him. She was texting him. She's like, "Hey, we guys meet here," and they're both like, "Well, only if he shows up." Talking about the other 2, and Nova flies in and gets all pissy. He's like, "Why can't we meet somewhere else? Why was we gonna meet in Jersey?" And they're both like, "We live in Jersey and New York City. You live in Arizona, and you're a living rocket. You can fly here. It's not a big deal."
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
And they're like, "You're about to yell at us for." It tells me you come back. She's like, "I quit the Avengers too."
Aw. Sounds like something else we know. So, anyway, so what I love most about the all-new Wolverine, what I love about this, not only is she a chick, and she's Wolverine, because I've always loved Wolverine, and I'm a chick, but she's just so badass. Like, she's...
Yeah, Laura's awesome.
Yeah, and she's got a mysterious past. She's got a half a dozen clones, most of whom die in the first 2 comics, 2 issues. But, it's complex and it's interesting and it weaves in Old Man Logan a little bit, and it's got a couple of different storylines that kind of weave in. So there's, the storyline that's going on, and then there's the Old Man Logan storyline, and they're not exactly on the same timeline, and so they cross over a little bit. And Captain America's in there, and he's doing the same thing Captain Marvel's doing. He's on the wrong side of history here, and they're trying to punish people or capture them before they actually take the actions that have been seen that Ulysses sees. But that's all like Minority Report. So this time the Civil War isn't about registration. The Civil War is about, should we incarcerate Inhumans if they haven't actually committed a crime yet, but just that Ulysses sees it.
Mutants,
right.
Normal people. Because one of Ms. Marvel's issues is one of her friends gets captured. It's one of her best friend, actually. Gets detained because an experiment he's working on the next day, if he'd done it, would have made the school explode and killed 100 kids.
Yeah, but then you start doing, not to cross over into DC, but then you start this Flashpoint nonsense. Right, but what I like about the Civil War storyline,
that's a nice timeline. Sure be mean someone to mess it up.
Messed it up. What I like though about Civil War is that even though they try to affect the timeline, it doesn't change. Whatever it is that they do actually causes the event anyway. They're never able to prevent it. It happens anyway, and I think that's kind of cool. That you can't mess with history even if you try.
Yeah. Like on certain things they've been able to stop stuff, other things they haven't, by interfering, intermingling, whatever you call it. It makes the event happen, like the Old Man Logan and All New Wolverine event.
Right.
Had they not come in, that event never would have happened. They came in and made the event happen.
Right. Thank you, Captain America, Dick.
But at the same time, she didn't technically die.
No, she didn't take it. So that's the thing. It wasn't, the vision wasn't wrong. It was just misinterpreted.
Yep. And that's where Ulysses has been sitting and training in meditation with Karnak to better own his thing, better own his ability.
So what's the deal with the new powers that Ulysses has? These threads coming out of his hands.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I don't think it's really established. He's just been doing monk-like meditation and studying with Karnak. And T'Challa and I forgot who else all made this big-ass cocoon-like thing for him to sit in. So when he meditates to think about events, he can focus more clearly. Because originally the events weren't really clear. They're just kind of, hey, this is going to happen.
Flashes,
It's got... At this point now, the way he's been training with Karnak and the way T'Challa and the other eggheads have made
eggheads. I love how you're a nerd club of eggheads.
Well, they're way smarter than me. God almighty, what's it called? Like an incubation chamber they make for him. He's able to see more clearly and give almost specific details of time, dates, coordinates.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. So, we're right at like 20 minutes. So next time, what do you want to talk about? I mean,
Wonder Woman.
All over the place.
Wonder Woman. Let's focus on that DC specifically said she's a lesbian now. We can talk about her past relationships with both Batsy and Supes. We can talk about the impact of both social media, comics, and just people in general, and for the LGBT community, how that's going to affect and see ripples there. And we can also talk about, hey, we should have seen it coming. She wasn't a matriarchy, all-female society.
Right, and she has a best friend that she's always been a little palsy with anyway.
And there's that famous meme going around. Yeah, there's that famous meme that goes around with her in the lasso of truth around Power Girl. Now, the real comic scene is when she throws it around her, she's going to go try and kill Superman. But the meme has been changed to where I'm about to go home and masturbate about you. Because there's always been an underlying DC finally made it.
Yeah.
Hey, she's gay, but there's always been an underlying kind of thing where like, is she or isn't she?
Yeah, 100% agree. So yeah, let's talk about that next time because that'll give me a chance to catch up. Because I don't really read DC that much. I read obviously a shitload of Marvel.
So do I. Most of my collection is Marvel as well. It's just a better comic.
It is. Sorry for all the DC fans. It is better. All right, awesome. You want to wrap up?
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, nerds. Stay nerdy.